Hey everyone, I wanted to make a video for all of you. I had just got off a one-to-one with someone I've spoken to for a long time now, and we talk a lot about habits, and I wanted to make a video on procrastination and what I believe is incorrect about the majority of material that's covered on social media and books about because OCD sufferers. I can't find much worse procrastinators than us because our mental health disorder is so severe when it's untreated and unchecked. And I want to talk about how I've improved my procrastination, what things I do, how I balance with trial and error, different strategies in my life, whether it be balancing journaling or daily schedulers, because my schedule is quite busy and all over the place with different time zones, plus with my business with my wife. So there's a lot of moving pieces, and why they're just going with the flow and being present and living in, say, the Taoist way or the Buddhist way is applicable and has a lot of great benefits, but it's also not as good as people think. There's a lot of cons that come with that life as well, depending on how you're looking at it from your specific worldview, especially surrounding low frustration tolerance and the way that we see it. That's why we're more in line with the Stoics and responsibility as a human. Not responsibility in the sense of, if you don't do this, you're a worthless person, which I think the Stoics got that wrong. We take the Albert Ellis perspective in the sense of, yes, there are responsibilities that you hold for yourself, but even when you fail, which you virtually always will, you accept yourself as a fallible human. So before I go any further, please subscribe. Hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this. I love speaking about behaviors and procrastination. I think it's something that's a never-ending process. I use that great quote I found maybe 6 months ago that says, it's been in passing, but education, there is no such thing as being educated. You're just consistently educating yourself in different levels and for different values and different cultures. What's considered education here might look different in Indonesia versus China versus Russia versus the Middle East, and etc. So it's just different from where you live, but there's a million things you could be educating yourself on in that way. And then remember, if you want to reach out for coaching, please email us at phil@ocdrecovery.com, and we will get back to you in a timely fashion. And the webinars are a lot of fun. I really enjoy the webinars, and thank you for all the support over the years, everyone. This is one of the most important things in my life, and I'm doing this till the day I die. If I live till 95, I'm going to be coaching people, and I'm 95 years old because I ain't retiring. I might take a step back, we'll say, but as of right now, which is so hard to predict 60 years in the future, which is crazy to think about. So my whole life, I was really good at the initial inspiration and motivation. So I think the way that most people operate is, most people operate with inspiration. So they'll be inspired plus motivated. It's kind of a math problem, right? So they'll be inspired plus motivated equals short action. And sometimes there not even is any action. That does not always mean there's action. So it's kind of what it looks like in the beginning. So inspired, you can see all the broken blood vessels in my nail, which I still don't even know where those came from. Maybe I hit my hand on the railing at Ultra. So inspired plus motivated equals short-term action. Okay, so that's basically where I and most humans live, or I lived, no longer live there. I don't put any merit into inspiration and motivation. I barely think about being inspired. I look at things, I weigh them in the pros cons list, and then I make behavioral actions. Now I'm a human. I can't short circuit the emotional attachment in the beginning. I just don't put a lot of merit on it. And then the long term would be discipline. So one more thing. So I would say discipline plus habits plus consistency, because that's what you need. You need consistency for habits and you need it for discipline long term. And that equals long range goals. That doesn't actually mean you're going to be successful in your goals. And that would be kind of the other way you could say it. Now, I just made it up on the spot. There's not any severe merit to that, but that's kind of how I look at it. So inspiration and motivation equals short-term action or no action at all. And then discipline, habits, and consistency can give you a better opportunity for long-range success and goals. I know it's done a lot for me in my life, for my career, for my income, for my marriage success, for my ability to be vulnerable, for my ability to practice stoicism. And I've read, a dozen or 24 books on stoicism over the last 4 or 5 years. And just implementing that day in, day out. There was a great quote by the late Charlie Munger, who was the CFO of Berkshire Hathaway with Warren Buffett. He said, you don't really need to be that much better than everyone else. You just have to be 5% better consistently over 20 years. And I believe in that. You might have jumps throughout your career where you get 50% better than your competition, etc. But it's not going to be in the sense of more than likely 50% year after year. But there are companies that do that. Amazon, Tesla, in certain ways. Even though Tesla, I don't believe is still profitable. I don't think they are. But I mean, just the growth of the business in certain aspects of it. Because I know someone will listen to that and then they'll say, Tesla's not profitable, which I believe they're not. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So I always like to learn things on that lines. So the way how I deal with my procrastination now is I have a daily schedule that I do every day. I've taken principles from Ray Dalio. So I kind of put a line down the paper and I put must do versus like to do. And then a lot of the like to do's, which I'm doing right now, I'm doing one of my YouTube videos. I've done my TikToks for the day. I've had to tell people about the time zone change because the time zones don't change until Saturday. But remember, mine changed 19 days ago. Different Google reviews for my business. We've been trying to do that. We had a business meeting with our team, which we do twice a month in my business yesterday. And we're talking about getting more Google reviews. I had to set up a certain meeting with an attorney. I had to do some tax stuff. And I had to pay us because that's one of my obligations in my business on Friday. I have to divvy all the money for the week into different categories in our accounting. And then not in the accounting, the typical accounting terms, but separating the money into savings or operation expenses accounts and stuff like that. So there's stuff that I need to do in order to run our business successfully and run OCD recovery successfully. I have particular roles in each of those things. And then what I do on top of that is I have my goal journal, right? So inside my goal journal, if I open it up, I go and I get to, wow, I'm already decently far into this. Holy crap. I stepped on the like marker in the airport and ripped it out and I was like, no. So this is one thing I did. I did a reflection on Sunday night at the end of Ultra. And I just put, where's my focus over the next 1 to 2 months? Hone in still. I still like working on money spending habits. I think it's a great habit to have. Me and my wife have, if we spend money, we tell each other, like if I buy a coffee, I text her, I say $6.99 Starbucks, and that we have a good idea over that. Keeping up with my eating patterns, because sometimes during the day it's hard because I have back-to-back calls. Just keeping up with exercises, working in silence. Start that one. That's something I've really been working on over the last year or so. Not talking or bragging so much. I really struggled with that. I really wanted people to think I was successful because I was so scared of rejection. Just different things. I found myself complaining a little bit more than I normally do, but that's what humans do. You're going to go up and down in these things. There's no fear pattern with that. There's no cycle with that, but you will catch that from time to time. And then, what I tend to do is if I go to, let's see. So these were my goals from 3/11 to 3/17. I didn't do when I was traveling. And I have personal goals. I review my personal goals, and I have OCD content goals, which is, make sure you're listening, make sure you're asking any final questions. I'm going to tell you guys the reality of it, right? Think about your why and why you do this. Continue up with content like usual. I used to be a lot more specific on my content, but as in numbers, but I'm so consistent with it now. I make a YouTube video almost every day, and I make 100 or 200 TikToks a month and 100 to 300 personal Instagram posts, and then the YouTube, the channel responding to stuff like that. So, but I'm a human, right? And I can slip off things, and that's what we do. And making sure I keep up with that. So procrastination typically comes down to a lot more action than people believe. So if we look at procrastination as a whole, so we'll go to procrastination. Okay. So I would say the number one most important thing that I've learned from procrastination is it's primarily behavioral. The behavior has to usually come first before the belief starts to change. Momin was explaining this very well in the webinar on Tuesday, where really focus in the beginning on the outward compulsions, a lot of those automatic rumination compulsions that are extremely out of your control, especially because the fear is high, is something that's going to have to be left there. So primarily behavioral, okay? Another one is a lot of I think it's how you spell repetition. Yeah. A lot of repetition. R-E-P-E-T-I-T-I-O-N. Sure, we're going with it. A lot of repetition. It's not just you're not going to be consistent with behavioral actions for a day or so and then change it. But I am going to make an off marker on this. So I'm going to put a bonus. This is something I've changed my mind on recently. When I mean recently, I mean very recently. I think that the longer you practice this and you get really good at it, the time frame lowers. Your threshold for being able to change a habit quickly is lowered substantially because your discipline and your habits are so good amongst many other things in your life. Taking cups off your desk, brushing your teeth, cleaning, making your bed, putting your shoes in the shoe rack. These are all standalone habits that might not seem they matter so much. You got to be careful when you listen to people, these big influencers. And I am an influencer in many ways, right? But the big ones are people who are like, making your bed does nothing for you. Well, it depends. It's a very black and white statement. If you don't make your bed and then you do many other habits, it probably doesn't matter. But if you don't make your bed, you don't brush your teeth, you don't floss, you don't take care of your finances, then starting with your bed could be starting with somewhere. So just be careful of the rigidity and what people say. So the bonus is like I said, decrease in time as you get better in this, okay? Then the third thing about procrastination is beliefs. Because what a lot of people will do is they'll try to manifest, they'll try to visualize, they'll try to believe their way out of this, and they won't take, some things behaviors matter more, some things belief matters more, sometimes they're kind of equal, sometimes they wax and wane depending on where you are in the process. In the beginning of procrastination, the behavioral action matters the most. So primarily behavioral, okay? A lot of repetition. Remember the bonus of the decreasing of the time, and then the belief. That's the stuff that, in my opinion, matters the most. And be wary on people. Like I see these very, very large accounts, a lot of them which I follow and have a lot of great information, where they talk about, here's my 4-week mastermind on procrastination. And I specifically remember this individual saying, learn how to crush procrastination forever or something in 4 weeks. Get the fuck out of here. There is no way that was so Jersey. You are not crushing procrastination in 4 weeks if you have no ability. If you want to crush procrastination in 4 weeks, that should be titled, this is for people who are already extremely disciplined over a variety of different things in their life. People who are not disciplined and procrastinate a lot, I like what Ray Dalio says, about 18 months plus. I think that's a lot more realistic. For me, not even close. I had that seizure. Many of the group people, I had my third seizure in my life 12 days ago. No. 16 days ago now. And I had to cut my caffeine usage quickly. And everyone knows I like caffeine. So I've only had one caffeine source a day. And that's it for 16 days. That is a habit I implemented instantaneously. Now, there was a threat to my life because I had a seizure and smacked my face on this right here. But and we've done tests before, right? I have viral encephalitis and meningitis, so I have brain damage. So I'm not scared of that. I have cues. I knew it was coming, by the way. I have a very weird deja vu aura that's very strong, and I was like, seizure, and just woke up on the ground, Erica screaming at me. But I changed that behavior quickly. Most people will slip up because they attach themselves to happiness with caffeine. They look at it as they absolutely need it. I can make habitual changes so fast now, but that's after 5 years of consistent journaling, day in, day out, tracking. This is compulsive, backing away from tracking. Now I'm avoiding it, going back to balance, and there were so many ups and downs. So thank you for watching this video. It's a very important topic to me. Let me know what you think about it. Remember, webinars Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. UK time. If there's any topics you want to see me cover, let me know. I like talking about this. I am going to do some upcoming videos talking about the beginning of recovery and why it's so difficult and the misconceptions, and we hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.